a.m. and we can call this meeting to order of the Environmental Committee for the San Lorenzo Valley Water District on July 2nd or July 1st, 2026. Can you please call roll?
Alina Lane,
Here.
Michael Duffy,
Here.
Nikki Franks,
Here.
and Parvin Zahar.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. I don't. Um, do you have any changes or deletions? Agenda?
No.
Just a hard stop at 11, everyone.
Yeah.
All right. And this portion is for oral communication for the public. Do you have anyone online?
Nobody online with their hand up.
All right. And no one in the room. All right. I feel we can move to the first order of business, which is going to be the 5-mile pipeline shaded fuel break and hazard tree mitigation updates.
Yeah, thank you. So Scott, if you go ahead and pull up those slides whenever you get a chance. Yeah, I'll just be providing an update on our project, which is the 5-mile pipeline shaded fuel break and hazard tree mitigation. This is a grant-funded project from our CAL FIRE grant. The total project is, we got $900,000 in grant money, and then the CCC, the California Conservation Corps, are providing $600,000 in match and staff time to actually do some of this work. And if you can go down to the PowerPoint slides, please. Yeah, we'll stop here actually. So this is just kind of a map of what the project actually looks like. The blue portion is the shaded fuel break and the hazard tree removal. So in that section, we'll be both removing hazardous trees along the pipeline and doing a 30-foot shaded fuel break on either side of the trail. The orange access routes are going to receive that same treatment. There aren't hazard trees along there, but we'll be removing, kind of creating a 30-foot shaded fuel break on either side. And then the red portion at the bottom is a portion that will just be hazard tree removal. We won't be doing a shaded fuel break on that portion. And the goal is kind of that blue portion will create a fuel break between some key access points that will allow fire crews to be able to get in there and have a safe place to work, as well as allowing us good access and protecting the pipeline along the trail once it's rebuilt. And so, next slide, please. Yeah, so we had the CCC start this project 2 weeks ago, and they started at, it's a little tough to see, but the second access down, the graveyard access within the blue area. So they are starting there and then moving north. They actually are starting their second spike today, which is exciting. The CCC, who are implementing this portion of the work in spikes. So it's an 8-day spike that they're here and camping and here full time, and then they're off for 8 days, and then they're back on for 8 days. And we expect them to be out here for approximately 10 months doing this to complete this whole work. They'll be doing the everything along the trail, so both the blue and the red portion, and then the orange portions will be done by, it'll be contracted out because that's more heavy machinery type work where they'll be using masticators or using some type of other types of heavy equipment. Whereas along the trail, they are just using hand tools, whether that's pole saws or chainsaws or whatever else. Next slide, please. Yeah, so we have, if you could go up a little bit, Scott. Thank you. We have approximately 750 trees that have been marked for mitigation, and these are either dead, dying, or pose a hazard to workers along the pipeline or the pipeline itself. We expect that a number of these trees have actually fallen since they were marked, because they were marked like a year and a half ago, maybe. But we've also had our forester out there who has marked additional trees because some more of the trees have just succumbed to injuries from the fire or just, other causes. So we're estimating around 750 still. And yeah, as it says on there, we have a registered professional forester, Mike Powers, who is providing oversight to the project. Next slide, please. Yeah, so the shaded fuel break, as I mentioned earlier, the goal is to protect the future pipeline, protect our treatment plant, and create a corridor for fire crews. And so the actual treatment specs, this will consist of clearing brush for 30 feet from the trail, thinning small trees, and limbing up bigger trees. So essentially, if there is a fire, it prevents it from spreading to the crown or to the canopy and kind of getting to a really hot point and creating a massive hot wildfire. We have approximately 2.2 miles of pipeline that will be covered by the shaded fuel break, and those 4 pipeline access roads, which will be a little bit longer than a mile of treatment. In terms of the treatment methods, for the pipeline shaded fuel break, it's all up and scatter. So essentially, they are just cutting stuff up into small pieces and then spreading it because we can't get equipment out there. So they're doing whatever they can by hand. But along the access roads, we can access with vehicles on most of them. And so those will be either chipped and kind of spread to a there's certain specs, or masticated and kind of left on property only to a certain height, which isn't vulnerable to fire that way. Next slide, please. This is kind of the timeline. And we're on that second little blue arrow right there, their second spike. We expect them to be working until like maybe March or April of 2027. And yeah, we expect the access roads. We're starting to work on the RFP for a contractor to go out there and do that work. And then we're planning to implement that in maybe, I don't know, late September, early October. And yeah, next slide, please. Here's just kind of an overview of the costs. All of these costs will be covered by the grant 100%. But generally we have about 150,000 that are going to doing our nesting bird surveys and other biological surveys, going to the CCC. Most of their work is covered by themselves, but we cover some of their costs, like their camping costs, some of their food, some of their equipment, that kind of stuff. But all their labor is covered by them. And then also for our registered professional forester oversight. And then some of the other costs are the campsites, the bathroom rentals, and other services associated with it. So together you're looking at like 210,000. And yeah, we expect to be reimbursed 100%. Next slide, please. All right, and with that, I will take any questions.
Thank you, Chris. All right, well, I think you probably have the most expertise on all of this. Maybe we'll start with you, Mr. Duffy.
Well, yeah, I suppose. I mean, I'm glad we're starting. Thank you, Leah. I'm glad we're starting. That's good news. I have just a couple of quick questions about process, I guess. The 8-week spikes, right? That it sounds like they're going to be committed to that point. What happens if like there's inclement weather? What happens if there's situations that, I mean, I know they're scheduled throughout the winter. I know we're looking at a heavy winter. Can we anticipate downtime or like lack of progress due to significant weather situations that are not safe to be out there? I know we call our crews, we don't let them work in the wind. I'm assuming the Cs are looking after themselves. What do we see there? Do you anticipate any problems with weather situations that may occur?
Yeah, potentially. Obviously, if it is dangerous, we're not going to have the crews out there. But otherwise, they work through weather. They're used to that. So yeah, I think really it just comes down to if it's dangerous, they're not going to be out there, but otherwise they will.
Okay. And out of their first spike, do we have any idea like how much progress they were able to make as far as how much distance or?
Yeah, so I think they made it like I have to look.
Just ballpark. mean,
Yeah. They, if we go back to the map, I remember on the map, I don't remember a number. Maybe the big one above the slide, Scott. There you go. So they started at that graveyard access.
yeah,
And they made it about halfway to the line access, but they only did the shaded fuel break for this first part because they wanted to clear some space for, kind of when they're cutting trees to have safe clearing routes and whatnot. So they're going to be going back this time and actually cutting the trees along that portion. So I don't remember the exact number, but about halfway to the access.
and then the second avenue about that is
Yeah.
there is the inclement weather, but there's also red flag conditions. We don't like under our circumstance, we don't have timber fallers working, we don't have saws, a lot of times equipment. But it's just something to consider. That
Yeah,
there can be downtime that could make it difficult, or maybe you just have to work partial days. But yeah, it's good. It's good that we're doing the work, and that's exciting. And then I noticed that the fuel break or the fuel work is considered to be 30 feet off of there, but understanding that the hazard trees is much more fluid as far as the distance, right? Because
Yeah.
the tree could be 100 feet away, and so that wouldn't necessarily be within that 30 foot.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'm good.
Frakes?
I was actually gonna ask about how their first spike went and the timeline of things. So would you say that they're on track? Was there like a certain deliverable or like objective that they had per spike?
No, not a set target. I will say we had them out doing the same work on our other pipeline, the P-line pipeline, and they hit it right on the timeline of what they were aiming for. So I'm very confident it's the same, same crew lead that's out there as last time, and we had a number of, I think we have like 3 or 4 of the same crew members from last time. So yeah, I'm confident that they'll get this done.
All right. Parvin?
I think promising looks. I don't have any question because I believe you.
Awesome.
All right. I just say what I said before, just like worried about spreading Phytophthora, sudden oak, through the forest. I was like pulling up, there's a couple maps, just trying to see where they've had hits, and we definitely had hits out here in the area that they're working in. So as they're just moving site to site, I would strongly encourage that they dry brush their boots and then either spray with 70, I think it's 70% alcohol, or I heard saw Lysol also works. Yeah, 70% concentration of rubbing alcohol, and they just spray their boots down, especially if you're moving site to site. It's not something that has to happen like as day throughout the day, but if they're going from one site to the next, just trying to not create more hazard trees, because not only do oaks have it, but our bay laurel in here can transmit it to the oaks. So, and especially since all these are diseased trees, they're more susceptible, or sorry, dying trees, they're more susceptible to disease out there. So just keeping that in mind and trying not to exacerbate the situation. And there's really some cool maps and stuff online that they're doing now to track it, and just saw. So yeah, but no, I'm really happy that this is happening. I think, the shaded fuel drake was something that really saved a lot of homes up in Ben Lomond, Bonnie Doon. Unfortunately, the fire wrapped back around and came up the backside, but as it was progressing forward, it did really do a lot. So I think that these are important, not just for the water district, but for our community. So thank you.
And I found a number. We did about 1,700 linear feet in that first spike. But that was just shade fuel break, and I'm not cutting that.
All right. Do we have any further questions from them? All right, we can go out to public comment. I see no one in the room and no one online with their hands up. We can move on to our next order of business, which is the 2025 Urban Water Management Plan and Water Shortage Contingency Plan.
Yeah. So as required by law, the district must submit its urban water management plan by today. And so we prepared our urban water management plan, which also includes the water shortage contingency plan, which essentially kind of lays out our categories of drought or water shortage rather, and then the associated actions that come along with that. And so I really just wanted to bring this for you all. I apologize for getting it over to you late. We were making some final changes. But yeah, I really just wanted to bring it before you and see if you guys had any questions or comments that we could maybe help to clarify or answer. So with that, yeah, I will take any questions.
Start down this end, Marvin.
I don't have any question.
Okay, Brinks.
There was the water use efficiency and demand management measures, including compliance with the indoor water use standard of 52.5. I was wondering, and that was effective January 1st, 2025. I was wondering if the district is currently in compliance.
Jason, do you know?
If we're in compliance with the indoor,
Yes.
it's hard to tell just because we don't do indoor versus that. I mean, because there's two components to it, indoor
Yeah.
and outdoor. So the district is in compliance with the overall.
Mhm.
So that's the best way to put it.
Makes sense. And then I had a question, this is just for my information about the water loss. And how is the current water loss, or what is the current water loss and how does it compare to prior years?
Water loss is hard to measure, obviously. So so looking at the SAFER report, the water loss is high. So I think it was around 400 acre feet, which is pretty extreme. But that where it's being lost is what we're focusing on.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going through a program where we're doing some meter exchanges and sending those meters off to see what their efficiencies are and seeing how much water loss is actually water loss just based on meter inaccuracy. And we're also preparing an RFP to do some surveying for soundings for leakage detection. So between those two prongs, we're trying to limit the water loss as much as we can, but it's definitely high at the moment, higher than we want it to be.
And for context, you said about 400 acre feet, and our total water production is
2,000.
2,000, yeah. So significant amount.
Yeah.
What was it during the board meeting, the question that Director Smalley had asked, if something was in place, we wouldn't pass because of the leakage.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what that was, but it was you're required to get your water loss below a certain percentage, and we're obviously above that.
Any further questions?
That's it for me.
All right,
Thank you.
Duffy?
Yeah, there's a couple of just, this is a third party we hired to make this report, right? It's not in-house.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a couple of details I thought were, I don't know, a little weird. Like there's the historic or so rain averages associated with this is on page 28 and it's taken from the rain gauge in Ben Lomond, but they're comparing the 2025 number in De La Viega. Right, so it looks like it's half of what our normal rainfall is, and I'm not sure that that's fully accurate for our region. I'm not sure why they chose that. I know we do have rainfall totals for Ben Lomond.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're similar, but it just does look like 2025 was half the rainfall. I'm not sure that's accurate for our region, and so I don't know if it's too late to ask to just do more localized data or why that was
It's
chosen.
not too late to ask for the next time.
Yeah, I mean, anyway, I don't know. I can't speak to it. And I don't want to reinvent the wheel on that, but I just feel like that might not really be portraying the right information that we need to show what our actual.
Unfortunately, we got into doing the urban water this plan too late, I think, in the game.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. It just would hate to someone to look at that. It's a little shocking, but it is.
Right.
I feel like a lot of the stuff in the report didn't pertain to us.
There were some template issues. I would say that.
And then a secondary thing on 33, and this is probably out of our realm as well, but it's a little concerning is the projected growth for our region, and it's minuscule. And I'm concerned that like projected growths of populations and water use of less than 1% doesn't leave us a huge like buffer. And I understand that projected, and I understand we have a huge community that doesn't want growth, but I don't know if that's realistic based upon pressure of populations. So I don't really have a lot of recommendations about that, but I just wanted to highlight that I am concerned that we are projecting very tiny growth, and I'm not sure that that's serving the future quite well. And that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Duffy. This already came to the board, so that was one of my concerns as well, as far as the growth, especially since that I don't think that our census data is completely accurate in this area. And I said this at the board meeting because a lot of our fire chiefs say that the amount of calls that they get for this area reflect a much higher population than what is actually recorded. And so that makes me nervous for long-term planning. Since this is kind of like a cheaper area, a lot of people move up here and they come like, big groups and houses. And so lots of people using water in one house, and they're not always captured in that census data. So, but yeah, I don't know, as far as planning, this document didn't really help me so much. I think the question that Smalley kind of asked at the board meeting was like the biggest takeaway, like, oh, we need to do something about leaks. And I definitely wasn't impressed with the amount of tiny little errors that got put out. I don't know if they're probably were fixed, so maybe you guys didn't see them, but there was like lots of little things. Then we're like looking at Lake Orville, and I'm like, why are we looking at Lake Orville? I was just really confused.
I think between Chris, Janelle and I, we sent over about 83 corrections just on things like that.
Yeah. But yeah, there was one that said like LA County.
Yeah.
And we were in LA County, and I was like, what? How did you not catch this? And the contractor, not you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, our job was basically supply them water supply, water production data and water consumption data and, water loss and all that. And they were supposed to put this plan together.
Yeah.
And yeah, the initial draft had numerous errors in it.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe just starting earlier and would helpful maybe next time. I know you guys are on a tight timeline, but I don't know, somehow trying to get some better like takeaways on I just like, okay, there's a lot of data and stuff, but what are the takeaways on it and how do we implement this in the water district? And I felt like it was kind of lacking in that area.
Yeah, I think it's also like some of how it's looked at, maybe. I got the sense from some people that it's just kind of a report that you have to do, whereas I feel like it could be an opportunity for us to, dive deeper into a particular issue if we're interested in it, or kind of make a plan of how we're going to deal with water loss or something,
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely starting earlier allows us that time to
Mhm.
kind of do that.
Yeah.
Well, and you also would hate to have the district putting forth a report that is maybe even contradicts other reports from the
Yeah.
district, and you'd like to make sure that that knowledge and that language is relatively, all on point.
Absolutely.
And I do, can I ask?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so we obviously, this is something, a report that needs to be done every 5 years. So there was one done 5 years ago?
Yeah.
It was done in conjunction with Scotts Valley Water District.
Okay, but we were able to show the report to the contractor and say, we want something that looks like this.
Yeah.
Okay, so these same glaring errors.
I mean, when they did their proposal, they showed us numerous urban water management plans that they did 5 years ago. And so we got to see what their work looked like. And I sent out letters to those general managers and said, were you happy with their work? And yeah, everyone gave them glowing reviews.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would echo that, but
Was this your first time working with West and Associates? I would expect it would be better the next time now that they have a good draft and things. They just took a template and updated things and didn't give it a careful read, especially if they threw it together at the last minute. And hopefully moving forward, now they have a relationship with you guys and they know your expectations. They can produce a better product next time.
the goal.
Can I ask one general question?
Sure.
I am not sure the source of supply water for Boulder Creek, where is coming?
There's the creeks up here, and then we have how many wells? About 5 wells, 7 wells,
7, yeah.
7 wells.
Oh, I thought coming from the basin, big basin mountain.
That area, yeah, that's where Fall Creek is. So that's one of the sources.
That is the question because
And-
I was not sure about the.
Yeah, and we're also working on getting Peavine back up. So that's the next source that's hopefully going to be back online here in the next couple of years.
Good.
Okay.
All right, do you have any further comments from committee? All right, we can move to public comment. I have no one in the room and no one online with their hand up. And we can move to. Oh, is it not on there? Oh, there's no committee comment. Oh, there it is. Committee number 7, committee comment. So this is reserved for general comment from the committee and or requesting future agenda items. Anyone have comment?
I have one.
Go ahead.
Okay. When we, as a committee are reviewing, especially property-wide issues or permits or reports or decisions, I find in my own business it's really helpful to have a goal for properties to know if we're meeting those goals with the decisions we're making. And I would wonder if the district at any point has taken all of the properties that they manage and set goals for management and what the purpose of owning those properties are. In other words, is there public access? Is fuel work a high priority? I mean, obviously water prevents, but sometimes those are wells, sometimes that's water lines. In other words, what is the goal that we are trying to achieve through management and ownership of a piece of property? So I wonder, if that doesn't exist, can that get created? And with that, I think that would be helpful for not just ours, but in the future. This is what the goal of the property is. And when we have something, does that meet the intended goals? When I can't do my job if the landowner's not telling me what their goal and their job is, otherwise I'm just flailing. And I think that it would be really helpful and instrumental for us and the public also to know, like, why does the district own these properties? What is the goal for that? And they can also question whether or not the stated goals actually meet the community's goals and directions as well. So,
Yep. I like that. Thank you.
yeah,
I think, yeah, that,
not that you need more work, but I'm just trying to say, like, I think
No.
it would be helpful because, again, going to the pest management concept, right? Well, I got to thinking, well, what is our goal for these properties? And without knowing that, it's hard to know if what we're approving is going to be reaching those goals.
right.
And I think with the district and with your office, I like you guys trying to figure out, what do you guys want? What does the community want? How should we be treating these? And what's the end goal? What are we trying to get to?
Yeah, I think that's really kind of hits the nail on the head because I think that is kind of the piece that's lost between whether the public or the board or the committee is like, I obviously sometimes know what the management goals are, but I forget that like not everyone knows what our properties are used for, what we want them to be. So yeah, I think that'd be great.
Yeah, it would be helpful.
I think that's also good for when surplusing properties, and if we have that ready to go, and it's like, oh no, we can't sell this one because this is why, or oh well, no, we can sell this one. I know that's been quite a bit of a topic with the board, so.
Yep.
And I thought about that too, because I know Bob's asked that question different times of us about why do we own properties or anything like that. And I think so it is important for us to ask that question.
Mhm.
What are we doing with it? What's the goal? And going back to it regarding pest management, I know so much of our projects and our efforts have been like Olympia based, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So we kind of understand what Olympia is for, but I don't think a lot of us understand what the other properties are for. And if we have goals that aren't being addressed, then we need to, kind of look into that as well.
Yes.
So,
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for that comment. Anything else? No? No? All right, I will call this meeting adjourn. Oh wait, sorry, public comment. No one in the room. Can't forget. And now there's no one online at all. So, I can call the meeting adjourn at 10:30 a.m. Yep, good time.
Thank you.
Chris, have a wonderful time.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and give you extra 30 minutes.
Yeah. I love it, Chris.